This is episode 321, and we're asking the question, is your unconscious mind impacting your marketing? And I have the incredibly smart, intelligent Sam Sundius to tell us all about it. Welcome to the Content Queen podcast. I'm your host, Mariah, entrepreneur, storyteller, digital nomad, creative content bootcamp, and founder of Content Queen with over 10 years of experience in marketing. This podcast is here to help you create the ideal marketing plan for you based on storytelling and strategy. So let's get into it. Hello gang, if you're watching, you may notice I have these big eyelashes on. I got my wedding makeup trial yesterday, and we've got to make the makeup worth it. So I took all the makeup off and I kept the lashes because I thought, well, on the Sunday I'm going to have something the day after my wedding. Can I get the makeup to at least the lashes to hold? So seems to be working so far, and I'm getting my hair done today, so at least we'll have that. Anyway, if you're not watching this on Spotify, you're like, what is she talking about? That is what I'm talking about. But that is not the point, because we're here to talk about you and your unconscious mind. So you might have remembered I put out into the ether on a podcasting group, is it consistency that we need to focus on with our marketing, or is it the belief in it? And I think the answer is yes to both. But I had some amazing people contact me. One of them was Sam, and they shared the concept of neuroplasticity and really diving into, like, do we need to focus on why we don't want to go in front of the camera, or actually just focusing on trying to work out how to get in front of the camera? Great questions. So let's introduce Sam and then get into the episode, because it is a good one, and there's some really good moments for us to really challenge and question our thought process. So Sam Sundius is a visual artist and creativity doula. In their coaching practice, Art of Discipline, Sam collaborates with neurodivergent artists and freelancers to build radically sustainable and impactful creative practices. Sam lives in New York City, great city. I used to want to live there. Now I don't know if I will get there anytime soon, but it is a beautiful city. They teach food and art at NYU. So let's chat with Sam.
Okay, Sam, welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited. We just had a little chat, so I'm very excited for our conversation today. To kick things off, I really like people that join the podcast to share their story. Like, how did you get to where you are now, as someone who's coaching your unconscious mind, neuroplasticity? I'm so excited to hear your journey. Like, how did you get to this?
Thank you so much for having me. Our pre-show chat has me super jazzed for this conversation. So I am a visual artist and a life-changing coach for artists and freelancers. I took a break from my creative practice, like an unintentional break, like what happens to us, for a super long time. And I came back to it a couple of years ago. And to do that, I experienced like really powerful one-on-one coaching. And I decided that this is what I want to bring to other people. The way I came specifically to neuroplasticity and coaching the unconscious mind is a kind of unthrilling story of I was just looking for the thing that works the most. And this is just they're the most powerful tools. They have the biggest impact. I guess actually, to put a little more context on it, my coaching practice I call Art of Undisciplined. Or I was using these tools because I've long been a believer that when people use only willpower and self-discipline to show up, we're actually draining our cognitive energy in a really big way. And less cognitive energy means less creative juices. So we're tiring ourselves out, we're burning ourselves out, just trying to show up, and then we're not satisfied with the work we're making after that. So the goal of my coaching practice has always been to figure out how to create a pull into someone's practice, make it so that you're not pushing yourself anymore, because that doesn't fucking work. And instead finding other ways of absolutely making making sure that you are showing up. It's a challenge, but it's a sexy one. And when people do it, it's really sustainable. It really opens up so many doors.
Yeah, I love what you say about discipline, because it's so true. And especially everyone has their own way of learning and growing and evolving. And, what we read in self-help and personal development books is, around that sort of discipline. And you end up burning out a lot of the times trying to keep up with all the things that people tell you to do to grow a successful business or to show up all the time, and not all of us are wired that way. And I think that's very cool because think like anything, and that's what makes a coach that is really good at what they do is really around like meeting that person where they're at. And that's why I love what you do, because it's not this like, oh, I've got this framework and this formula and follow this framework and formula and you will be what me and you'll do what I do. And I have a client that's the same, like she coaches in a way that it's like it's not about following a framework or a formula. It's about actually meeting that person where they're at. So I love that you say that, because I feel like all the times, sometimes we feel like we might be broken because we don't, what worked for someone that's a successful entrepreneur doesn't work for us. And I think that can be very
Totally.
tiring. Yeah.
Totally, totally. And I think a lot of these things, like without getting into like a whole conversation about like systemic oppression and stuff like that. But like a lot of these things are birthed from gatekeeping, right?
Mm.
And there's like something really toxic about constantly insisting that people come back to willpower and self-discipline. That's like, because it's a very unilateral, like if it's not working for you, that's because you're not doing it enough yet. Like if you could commit more, it would work for you. And like, where does it
Mm.
end? Like seriously.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's a great point. I think, yeah, we always think it's us, not the actual like the system that's not working for us. And I think,
Yeah.
yeah, that's very interesting. God, that's a whole topic in itself, right? I we've opened a can of worms. I love, so when we were chatting about this episode and I was sort of stalking your social media, you did a unconscious money blocks workshop. And I think that really intrigued my interest, because I know obviously we all have money blocks in some way, shape, or form that have come up and still come up, especially when potentially we lose clients or we don't make the sales we want, and all of that. But it got me thinking about, obviously we have these blocks, and of course we have them with showing up and marketing ourselves. And I see it all the time. And I, mentioned to you just before the call, so I'll use it as an example, hypothetically, or I see clients all the time that I've been working with over the years. Like I've been doing this in marketing for 10 years, but I've been working in my own business for 6 now. So and as social media has evolved, right, we need to show up more on video, show our face more, like go on a kind of the days where we put a logo up and, post our graphics from Canva and our stock images. Now it's like, oh, we really have to show up. And actually, I'm going to use an example that I shared one with you, but I'm going to use another one. Yesterday, I was recording videos for one of my clients, and they have staff. So they've got like a whole sweep of people, because it is a restaurant. They're in the hospitality and tourism business. And we want to get some videos of the team members acting natural in the kitchen, cooking. And as soon as you turn that camera on, no one acts natural, right? Like no one acts natural at all. And like you say, hey, would you like to be on a video? And that, no, 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 I don't want to be on a video. Obviously, I understand from privacy reasons, totally get it. But a lot of them, it wasn't about that. It was like, I don't know what to
Yeah.
say. What if I look stupid? Like none of them was like, oh no, it's a privacy thing. I don't do social media. Not one of them said that, because they all comment on the videos. They all love what we're doing. They all go, oh, are you doing social media? And then they're like, oh, you want to be a video? Oh no. They get nervous. They don't know what to say. And we have to coach them on what to say. Even the owner was like, oh, I don't want to do this. And then like we made her. And then when they see it come to life online, they like love it, right? And then I was telling you about clients that I've worked with, yeah, as soon as you turn the camera on, they're like a different person. They change. Like my partner gets sweaty as soon as the camera turns on. Like he literally like breaks out in sweat. That's why he edits. He doesn't record, because even I've done podcasts with him before, and it's like English isn't his first language, which is a massive confidence thing for him. But it's like he just like forgets all the English he knows. Like every ounce of English is gone. But yeah, I was talking to you about that sort of like nerves and things that come up when we know we have to show up. So I'd love to talk about that with you, these kind of like unconscious marketing blocks, I'm going to call it. But obviously it's like so much deeper than marketing. But I'm keen to explore this topic with you today around like, yeah, why do we get like this? Why is it as soon as like we turn a camera on, or as soon as we have to like go live on Instagram or hit post, it's like
Yeah.
we go into
Pixels on a
this.
screen and it feels like
Yeah.
death. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
It's so crazy, right?
Yeah. So I love all of this. I'm gonna take like a half a step back, just to like contextualize a little bit more. So like it's cliche, but our unconscious mind, it's you have to picture like the iceberg, right?
Mm.
And like the conscious mind is that little bit sticking out there, and the unconscious mind is this huge mass underneath. And that's just like the way that it is, right?
Mm.
So like when we're playing with our unconscious mind, we want to be careful about like just definitely not vilifying it. It's really about partnering with it, right? Because the reason the unconscious mind exists, and there's not like a serious there's like it's a lot more fluid than what we think, but like essentially what the unconscious mind is it's all of these learned behaviors and chemical reactions that are kind of on autopilot to a degree because our brains are phenomenally good at filtering out information. Like if we were in touch with all of the information we're taking in and like all of the memories we're having and all the things we're responding to all the time, it would just like we would just sit there drooling. I don't even know. It would just be impossible to get anything done. Um, so the unconscious mind is this like really it's amazing. It's a part of us. It's like it's in literally everything that we do. Um, and what happens is when our unconscious mind has like decided that a certain activity, like being visible or doing marketing or hitting post on Instagram or something, is like feels unsafe, it will start to like it'll start to kind of activate our nervous system. And when that happens, change becomes less possible, right? Once our nervous system, fight, flight, freeze, fawn, becomes activated, it really only cares about survival. Again, amazing tool of evolution. Like when like our bodies are like and our brains are like so fucking ready to like preserve us no matter what. So like what you like typically people will do, and this is kind of the idea behind exposure therapy, which absolutely not vouching for exposure therapy, but like it's like when you practice that thing that you were afraid of, then it's like then you can teach your unconscious mind that it's a safe thing to do, right? And that again requires like a fair amount of like willpower and like discipline to like show up even when you feel like it's death and get yourself to do it anyway. And it kind of has like varying amounts of success, which is why I definitely like don't encourage exposure therapy.
Mm.
So what neuroplasticity unconscious and coaching the unconscious mind are able to do, is that you like either working with a practitioner or like I teach people tools to use for themselves, like when these moments happen, instead of trying to get your mind to overcome and do the thing anyway, even when your body is in panic, you teach your body that the thing is safe.
Mm.
And then it allows you to move forward with it. And when you feel safe enough to continue doing the thing, then you're like, then your unconscious mind is starting to register that like, oh, this is a safe activity. And so
Mm.
change is like so much faster. So it definitely like I've worked because I work with artists. A lot of what we talk about is visibility. And with freelancers, when we talk about like networking or like, you know, when people need to connect to collaborate with someone on a project or something, like it's like a lot of it is like figuring out how to create safety around that so that those things are not holding us back. There was another thought in my head and it went right out. Just boom.
It'll come back for sure.
It probably will.
Yeah, it's so interesting because I like what you say about like teaching your unconscious mind that it is safe because I think and what do you find usually are like does it come down to, you know, past um things that have happened in the past that kind of bring like leak into, I guess, into the marketing? Because obviously, like, yeah, you think about it, like, oh my God, like, seems so crazy to have this reaction to posting something on a platform that, you know, could give me exposure or, you know, it's just a camera, like, it's just literally a lens and I
Yeah.
can delete it or, you know, it doesn't have to go anywhere. Like, I think, you know, when you actually think about it, you go, wow, it just doesn't make sense. But, and it's actually funny. I'm gonna share a bit of an insight. I on Friday, I was doing some user generated content. I got a user generated content um job, and I was stressed about it for some reason, and I don't know why. I still don't really know why. Probably in the end I do because some stuff happened. But anyway, that's another story. And I was being really like my partner was he's like, why are you what's wrong? Like, and when we start like I was really nervous about it and like I when we turned the camera on, he's like, why are you acting like so like advertisement like? And I'm like, I don't know. It's meant to be natural. I know. And I just like couldn't be natural. I couldn't like I really struggled. In the end, he got me to like go out of the room and like walk in as if I've just picked up the product and like put it down. And then it was fine in the end. And he told me the videos have come out really good. But it was like I'm not usually like this in front of the camera. Like it does come quite natural to me, of course, with practice. But yeah, it was sort of interesting to have that like and like really stressed. Like I was ready to fight him. Like I don't know, I was just so aggressive. And he's like, you okay? Like you're really stressed about this. And I thought that was quite interesting. And I probably need to unpack like, okay, what was I stressed about? We were like in a different environment to what I'm used to as well. So like there was a few like factors. We had a certain time frame because my family had gone out. We were on holidays. They'd gone out for a couple of hours. I'm sure there's all these things, but I'm sure there's something like in the unconscious mind around like, oh my God, I'm getting paid for this. What if I don't do it how they want and they don't think it's worth the money? Like all these things that come up, I imagine like was subconsciously there that made me really stressed. So, for anyone listening that's like, oh, there's people that always feel natural in front of the camera, I can probably guarantee you at some stage they're, nervous about something and maybe it took 1,000 takes. And, I know some people that use like teleprompters now to get their words out because they've stressed about it over time. So I think even the people that seem so natural on camera are also just as stressed.
Totally, totally. It's all context based. And like this stuff, like what you're describing, like that like nervous system activation, like it's part of being human. So like yeah, some of us like go through periods where it's really frustrating. We feel it all the time and then we're like I'm an anxious person or I'm just a neurotic person and it's like it seems like like other people just like have this like free pass to like go around the like never feel these kinds of things, but it is something that everyone feels because it is literally an integral part of being human. And like to that end, yeah, all of these things are learned. um we're constantly taking in new information. Everything we do, every thought we have is changing our brain
Mm,
all the time. And so like we're constantly integrating new information and like it doesn't always, sometimes, but less frequently than we think, does it actually serve us to try and figure out the story behind it. Because usually when we try and identify a story, um, then we're like, actually strengthening those neural pathways in our brain. So we're actually building up the fear or the reaction or
mm,
whatever by like building up the story. So another thing that's like really freeing in like neuroplasticity and coaching the unconscious mind is that it moves us away from story and meaning making because it's like at the end of the day, do you want to know why you were stressed in front of the camera or do you want to not be stressed in front of the camera?
mm.
Right. And I think,
Good
right.
point.
So like again, there can be power to like sometimes we do need to unpack these things, but I think it's really worth trying these practices first. And then if it doesn't get the results that you want, then trying to see like maybe what else is going on. But like sometimes like the other thing too behind story is that like it can be really fucking boring. Like it can be like the most mundane thing. Like one time I sent an email and then a boss yelled at me and now emails feel like death. And like part
Mm,
of what happens too is that like why things like exposure therapy frequently do not work or like getting practice doing something that frightens us, like sometimes it gets us over it. Other times it really doesn't and it feels
mm,
like a crapshoot, but what's actually happening is that like once our nervous system is activated, all it wants is like it's like starting the stress cycle. It wants the stress cycle to complete, so it wants you to do one of those things. It wants you to fight or flight or freeze or fawn. Like it wants to do something to like reestablish safety because like in the past, like our ancestors, did not feel like they were dying because they were sending emails. They felt like they were dying because they were being chased by something, like because they needed to do something to like make sure that they were going to like survive the moment. And so like when we downplay like the task that we're trying to do, and I think that happens so much in marketing where like
mm,
it's just a fucking Instagram post, it's
mm,
just an email, like it shouldn't be this big of a deal. We like bully ourselves rather than just taking it at face value. and just being like, for some reason, this feels like death. And if I can care for myself through it, and if I can make it not feel like death, I'll learn that this is actually a like ridiculously safe thing to do.
Mm.
Um, and a lot of this is the reason why I'm like, I have this like big chip on my shoulder about the phrase self-sabotage, because I think people use it a lot, and it is such poison to self-trust, because it's like, what do you make of the fact that you think that part of your unconscious mind or like part of yourself is trying to ruin you? Like, it suggests that like we're trying to harm ourselves. And I think it belies the fact that like everything we do is designed around our survival.
Mm.
Even the weirdest, most fucked up things, even when we shoot ourselves in the foot, like professionally or whatever, like part of us is doing that because it thinks that's the safest way for us to move forward. And when we call something self-sabotage, we're robbing ourselves of the fact that like we're robbing ourselves of that trust that every part of us has good intentions, right? And so then we try and overcome something rather than partnering with our unconscious mind, partnering with our past experience, partnering with whatever it is to figure out how to bring our whole self forward. Again, like just draining our mind of cognitive energy and creativity and everything in the process.
Mm. Oh, I love
Yeah.
that. I love what you say about like, yeah, trying to understand why that's me. Like always like wanting to know, okay, why do I feel like that? Why did that happen? And yeah, as you say, like spend all that mental energy trying to work out why instead of just like moving forward with it. I completely resonate with that because I'm always over analyzing
It's
everything I
human.
do. Yeah, of course. And I do think like yeah, and it's interesting what you say about like you know, everyone has their own thing, right? It's like for me, and I had this really interesting experience when I did some accounting stuff last year, and I really avoided it because I was like, oh, this just feels so yuck. And I was like, oh, this is how my clients feel when I ask them to film something or I ask them to do something with content because I like often 99% of the time don't overthink it and just like do it, and I don't have that reaction of feeling unsafe. And then it's like, oh yeah, maybe that's how people feel, me doing all this accounting work versus marketing because it's easy for me. And like I was talking about this the other day of like when I have stuff on my to-do list and I'm like, okay, I can work on my own business. What am I going to focus on? And I'll go, oh, creating social media is easy for me, so I'll do that first. And you know what you're saying is it's not actually like me trying to sabotage all the other stuff. It's just like where I probably feel the most safe. So I sort of go to that because it feels safe, right?
Totally, totally. And once you are not afraid of yourself, like once you know that every part of you is in some way working towards
Mm.
the same goal, then it becomes a lot easier to kind of have like internal dialogue with yourself and be like, okay, I know that I feel drawn to doing this thing that's a little bit easier right now. Like this feels salient, but I'm not going to invest in that. Like I hear you,
Mm.
brain, but I think it's more important for me to do this. And like this is really the basis for like with my clients, we like are constantly teasing apart like what we want from what we feel like doing.
Mm.
Right. So, like, someone could want to wake up early and spend a couple hours doing their creative practice before they have to go do like a different kind of day job. But when our alarm goes off, maybe they feel like staying in bed. Right. And like, how do you recognize that that's just something your brain is saying in that moment and let it be okay to be like, but I'm going to try and stick with what I want to do anyway.
Mm. Yeah. And I think that's I read something about like confidence being the definition of like self-trust. So to build confidence in yourself, it's like trusting yourself more. So if you say, I want to get up early and work on my creative practice before I start doing, other activities, and you don't do that, then like it's harder to build that confidence in yourself because there's that level of self-trust.
Yeah. Well, but if you practice like coming from a place of self-trust,
Mm.
then you say, okay, I really want to show up for my creative practice first thing in the morning, and it's not happening. So instead of trying harder, I'm going to assume that I'm already trying hard enough, right?
Mm.
I'm going to figure out if there is another thing that's like in my way. And like sometimes that thing is like usually that thing, because I work with a lot of neurodivergence because I am a neurodivergent, it's environmental. It's like too much mental energy to figure out what to wear in the morning before getting out of the house. I'm not sure what to have for breakfast. Like I don't have a clean workspace to sit down and start working at and everything. And it's like, all right, those are problems you can solve. And then like once you solve for those things, then now
Mm.
like you try again the next morning and like you see if like now all these things are decided, you've removed this from your cognitive load, is it easier for you to show up and do the thing that you want to do? And like honestly 9 times out of 10 it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it also because like, and this has happened to me before, like when I'm, say, if we use the example of getting up in the mornings, because I'm really excited to do it as well. So I have that like excitement. Whereas like if I'm gonna sleep in, it's because I'm not really that excited. Like it doesn't excite me. So what you're saying is like, yeah, if your environment isn't how you want, or there's other things that have stressed you out, then you're just gonna avoid it anyway.
Yeah.
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 Yeah. And there's also a funny thing, like, so all of those things being true, but there's also this really funny thing of like, fake it till you make it is like a very real, like, it's a very real strategy. So,
Mm.
like, sometimes I will coach people on if you have trouble getting up early in the morning, what you need to do is just jump out of bed.
Yeah.
Pretend that you are someone who loves to get up early
Yeah.
and like just try it on,
Yeah.
like see how it goes. And usually like that too will be like then like that enthusiasm kind of lands in that moment for your brain, again
Yeah.
coaching the unconscious mind, and like it frees you to actually be able to do that.
Yeah. Okay. So anyone listening with your content creation, how can you get excited to do it? Because I feel like, and even with clients, you're waiting on them to film a video or something, and it's like, yes, it's that energy like that they need to get it done. But I think it's like trying to kind of jumpstart that energy can be quite challenging. So I'm curious to know with kind of the work you do with like unconscious mind, neuroplasticity, like what are some of the things that we can do to start thinking about shifting that? Because I like what you say about like, if you're always trying to think about why you're not doing it and all the things, you're creating that pathway that just strengthens that belief in you not being able to do it, right? Or you feeling that way. So I'm curious to know like what techniques you teach that can help like us rewire or change that belief pattern. It's probably a very big question, but I'm curious to know like what are some of the things that you would recommend we do? Because I think like, yeah, as I said, a lot of the times we know we need to be on these platforms, or we know we need to send that email to our email list that maybe we've neglected in 6 months or something like that. But it's like, yeah, how do we get to the point where we can like have that belief in showing up or doing the things and not have that response?
Yeah, so that like usually these conversations like specifically about like neuroplasticity and like self-directed neuroplasticity um, are about like kind of getting a task or a practice to happen.
Hmm.
And what I'm hearing in your question a little bit is like this kind of broader thing of like how do you find enthusiasm to show up altogether?
Hmm.
And that's a little bit more, that's a little bit of a bigger question. It's also something that's like very much at the heart of what I do. It's like highly specific though. The thing is like you either need to be doing what you want to be doing, or you need to figure out what you want and what you are doing and connect to that.
Mm.
That's how
Hmm.
you use desire to like get yourself to do something rather than like and like let yourself be pulled into doing something, like feel that ease, that draw, rather than like feeling obligation and needing to push yourself to do
Yeah.
something. Once we're pushing ourselves, we're using cognitive energy against our creativity and like against like what our brain is and our body is naturally craving. And then like it just kind of drains us.
Mm.
So it's really about coming back to the why. And I think if I can, like a question that you floated before we started recording, or like in our communications before, was like what would I suggest for like someone who's like their marketing just isn't clicking? Like, is that maybe like have something to do with like unconscious blocks? And I would say like, yeah, to a degree, but I think maybe it takes going a little bit further past like, what does it mean for marketing to not be clicking? And I think like, and I maybe I don't want to make assumptions about your audience, but it's like if marketing isn't working, I'm assuming that means that they're not getting the sales that they want. They're not getting the response that they want,
Mm-hmm.
right? So marketing is really like, for me, it's an extension of like just talking, just communicating about the thing that we want to sell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like when we're passionate about what we're offering, it's like it like comes from us really easily. And then after it's like applying these, I think it's like when we feel that passion about selling, when we're excited to sell, then the conversation around marketing is just like what structure we want to give our
Mm-hmm.
selling, right? It becomes just like kind of the scaffolding to like how to reach more people and how to get out there. And I think where people lose drive really fast, where I've lost drive in the past in my own business, and I have really had to have like a come to atheist Jesus moment around it was like we start with the marketing and then we try and plug passion in on the back end. And
Mm.
sometimes that has us making the selling into who we're selling
Mm.
and kind of just like spinning our wheels like that. So I think, yeah, again, like these practices are super powerful and they can like really help you to show up, but like for better or worse, like they will guide you towards like what you desire. It's not, you're not going to gaslight yourself into doing something that you don't want to do with these. It's part of the reason I get really excited to share them. It's like, you're not, you can't, you can only like feel like worst case scenario, you feel more relaxed. But like you can't, yeah, you're not going to make something up. You're not going to lie to yourself about your experience. So like if overall you feel disenchanted with marketing, then like sometimes these tools can help to connect you back to like your why. But I think ultimately like that is the journey you have to be on, is
Mm.
making sure that you're selling something you're passionate about and making sure you're selling it like to people who are authentically your people and in a way that feels authentic to you, because anything else beyond that is just going to be a band-aid. Like even like the most powerful like hypnosis and stuff that I know, like you're going to like you'll just fall back out of love with like the thing you're doing. It would just be temporary.
Yeah.
um so yeah, but I think also like a lot of like coaching the unconscious mind, like if you like, and this should really be the thing for like all coaching, this should be like the standard that all coaches are held to, is that like you should be able to work with someone who helps you to name what that is, right?
Mm.
And like, and that might be in your unconscious and it's probably beneath what you think you should be doing and what you think it's supposed to look like and all of those things. But like, yeah, when you're able to actually tap into to that desire, to that thing that moves you, what I say with my clients is like the thing that you're passionate about, that you're good at, and that you can be well compensated for. Like when you get to that, it becomes so easy. It
Yeah.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I get it. I get that. And I think like it's super interesting because with the marketing, we're always thinking about like, yeah, what is the tactic or what are people doing to get people to listen and etc. And I had a call with someone yesterday and they or Tuesday and they were saying like, I've been I'm consuming so much of what to do that I now don't know what to do because I'm so paralyzed with what hook to use and what this and what that. And they're just like the icing on the cake of you talking about what you love. And I really like how you say that because I think sometimes we don't share what we want to share in the way that we want to share it because we get so caught up in what we're seeing online of like how to do things, how to structure a video, like why this video went viral. And like I can tell you, yes, of course, like in basic storytelling, there is structure to story that makes it engaging and exciting for people to listen to from like psychology standpoint, right? But at the end of the day, if you share the story in the way that feels authentic to you, like I've watched, series like TikTok 50-part series on just an exciting story because that person really just wanted to share it, and you could tell they felt like they really needed to share it. And there was like that kind of energy around it. So I really love what you say in that because if you start with passion first, the marketing, all those marketing like strategies and tactics will kind of fall into place with like you just sharing your passion. And I think a lot of
Yeah.
the times we feel like we need to know that 100% before we put it out there as well. And I often find like you kind of do that by showing up and like we get so paralyzed in it needing to be perfect before it goes out. But like the first time I hit live on my social media, I was like, and for anyone that's watching this, my like I was shaking and like, but I was excited to show off and share my new business. And like I think a lot of the times if whoever you engage with or buy from, or even the compliments that you want to get from people are like, oh my God, you're really passionate about what you do. I can feel that. And I think that really is the key to good marketing. I love that you said that because I think, yeah, we get caught up in the nitty-gritty of marketing instead of just being like, I don't think I could do that. Like, I don't think I could show up in that way and it wouldn't feel authentic to me. I think it's so true. And that's probably why, like, maybe it isn't actually video for you. Like, maybe it is in another way. Like, I've seen people do beautiful, like, the way they write or the way, and it like attracts people. Like, I think and that's why I have a quiz on my website. It's like, find the channel that works for you, first, and then work on the how you can get your audience to kind of like it's that sort of balance. But I
Which
think
is
if
what I really enjoy in your podcast. I like that you're not afraid to have those conversations about like what does it look like to have life without social media, like to do marketing without
yes,
social media and
yeah,
stuff. And like full disclosure, like you came to my Instagram. It is people would not call that aspirational, like the number of followers and everything, but
yeah,
I'm like I would say that my marketing works really well because I am selling what I need to sell and I am in touch with who I need to be in touch with and I'm
hmm
like bringing my people in like and I guess I'm mentioning it too because like I'm about to actually like fully delete my Instagram and just focus on my email, which is my favorite way to be in touch with people.
yep,
Because I found that like I've used these practices for myself to be able to show up more for social media and stuff like that. And like the thing that happened at the end of like a lot of reflection and a lot of self-directed neuroplasticity and like getting support from other people and like becoming really comfortable on Instagram was that I decided I don't like it. I just don't care enough. It's just not
yeah,
my jam. And
yeah,
it's like, ooh, I really thought there was going to be something more special on the other side of building comfort with this, but there
yeah,
isn't. And
yeah,
like for me, that like I can still find that spiciness and that challenge in my emails with my
yeah,
people. So it's like it's like I know that I am not like shirking a challenge. I'm like finding something that like feels expansive, right? And I think
mm,
that's really important too. Like you were saying, like we can like end up like chasing like all of these like algorithm like hacks and everything. And I think, like for someone like you, I get the impression that like you really enjoy the problem solving around like figuring out a lot of these marketing things. And I think like that's a really sexy energy for your brain, right? Like it feels really good. But I think for someone where like it's not about problem solving or challenges, it's about trying to like hack a thing or figure it out, like that's where you're gonna burn out because these things are designed for that too, right?
mm,
Like they know that we are dependent on this shit for marketing. And like they don't care whether or not our business struggles, they care whether or not we keep on using this app. So like they will intentionally make it so that like all like I mean, I'm no expert in a lot of this stuff, but like the idea that like we're still talking about posting consistently when like very clearly like it's been over a year where like that doesn't work for people,
mm,
like it's just like it's that same man full circle, it's back to that same like you're trying to like use willpower and you're trying to use self-discipline to like keep posting consistently and like it's a unilateral thing where like then Instagram can just be like, well, you're not posting consistently enough or you haven't tried this new thing over here and
yeah,
like yeah, I think again, if you're someone who enjoys solving those problems and who enjoys that challenge of like trying to play with these different pieces and
mm.
like whatever, then like that is more power to you. But like if that is not you, then yeah, you can burn out really fast trying to chase all that stuff.
Yeah. And I think there's lots of things that come from this as well. And I always bring it back to like why you on that platform is like, for example, like I don't use Instagram to sell anything. Like it's just not where I do that, but I do build community and connection. And I do like that aspect. So lots of people that are using these platforms, they need to realize like what is the overall purpose of that platform and like what am I using it for beyond like posting content? Am I using it to like connect to my community? Do I really like having conversations with people? I love like sharing like on stories like the updates that are happening in my life and I think that's helped me. Like, I posted a video for fun, right? I was at Christmas. My parents live on a golf course. We got dad's golf cart out, and my partner and I both had our laptops and we're like pretending to work while my dad drove down the fairway. And it was really fun and it was funny. And like we just loved it and we put it up for Christmas. And then I get a phone call. And this doesn't happen all the time. I'm not saying this is like the magical thing, but like I got a phone call early this year from that golf course and said, "Hey, we saw your video. We really liked it. We want to have a conversation about like how you could potentially help us." And that doesn't happen all the time, right? But that was coming from a place of like, I just liked doing that and that was fun for me with no
Fun.
expectation, right? And the whole purpose of that was just to like create fun in my community and to show the fun ways that and obviously I teach content. So like it's so different from me. It's like the people that teach Instagram Reels and they teach hacks on Instagram Reels and trends and they have heaps of likes and views and followers and you think if you do that you'll get the same, but it's because that's their thing. They're meant to get likes and comments because they're talking about something that everyone wants to learn about, right? Whereas like I had this conversation with my client who does flow coaching and yeah, I said like you're not teaching Instagram, right? Like people that teach Instagram generally get a lot more engagement because they're teaching about the platform that they're on. And not from an algorithm standpoint, just because everyone wants to learn about it, right? They're like, oh, well, I'm on this platform. I want to learn about this platform. So we're comparing ourselves to people that their why is to get impressions, views, all the things. And I look at
Yes.
this from different clients I work from the local fish and chip shop that impressions are powerful because they don't have a website. It's like we need people to know who they are. Do we you like we and the energy of that is to create fun and conversation and to make the fish and chips and the food look fun and to do fun things. Like that is the goal. Whereas another client is just about brand. They want their customers to see that they're there. They're there, they're active, we're in business, and I think sometimes we forget why we're on the platform and that's when we get so caught up on it. And that's when we burn out because we're trying to do what other people are telling us to do rather than going like, oh yeah, I'm just here because I like teaching people. Like I'm really passionate about what I want to do and I want to like put that somewhere. And
Oh my God. Yeah.
rather than and that's why I love like focusing on the email marketing to nurture the community on a deeper level or the website or the blog or the podcast or something that really like brings people into your space, and social media can be that social platform that you just use. And for the people that don't want to be social, you don't have to be there. It's just finding your space of how people can learn about you. And I actually think we're going back to more like traditional marketing as well, like networking, connecting, or um, you know, letterbox drops, and like depends on where you are and what you do and how that works for you, for like the creative space, like going to shows and galleries and showing your work or trying to connect with the people. I've got clients that are doing things like sponsoring events and all those different types of marketing that kind of brings new people to your space. And then you don't have to rely on this like social media to like continue to bring new people. And that's when the numbers don't really matter so much because it's like, as you're saying, like I'm the same, like my audience really doesn't grow that quickly. It's like a slow burn, but that's how people build trust with me and they go there to see if I'm like legit, if I know what I'm doing, they like my energy. Yeah, cool. We want to go further. We want to join her mailing list or we want to listen to her podcast or we want to work with her. So I think it's like all those things, right? And I think we get so caught up in it needing to be this like build passive income while you sleep, just post on Instagram and people will be buying your stuff. And it's like, that's just not a
Right.
reality.
No, I love how you named like these different objectives because that's totally it. Like you could be there because you're a fish and chip shop. You could be there just because you need your brand to have an online presence. And then
Mhm.
you're looking at someone who's doing something totally different and you're like you're very quickly comparing yourself to them, which again is the goal of these apps is to make us feel shitty about ourselves.
Yeah.
But I think like being clear on like what you're doing there. I mean, because the other thing is like, yeah, you're talking about like people talking about Instagram and getting like a lot of traction. There's also like a lot of people who get a lot of traction who don't actually sell a lot. So if you like,
Exactly.
they're just good at like being really visible, not necessarily at like actually like selling or supporting people or anything beyond like the image that they're presenting. And I think like that can also be really seductive when we forget to think about what's happening
Mm,
beyond the scenes. And I think a way to have like good self boundaries around that is like exactly what you're saying, like be really clear about what you're doing there. And
mm,
like don't let yourself be called into doing someone else's thing. And if it's not serving you, because the other thing is, I think that doesn't get talked about enough is that it is very, as challenging as it is to chase all of the new information about how to hack social media and all of that stuff, it is easier to let yourself go down that path frequently than it is to have a real conversation with a person or your people, like to have
yes.
that direct, like sometimes we do that to avoid getting closer to the actual like
Mm,
sale part, to the actual community part, to the actual connection. We're like chasing the next person because we're like still kind of have blocks around like how to show up for the people who are already here close to us. So I think that's also a really like I think that's something that can also really possibly come to light when you get clear about your why behind like what you're doing on these different channels.
yeah. Oh my God. It's so I've seen that way too many times. Like, and I
For
actually
sure.
did a video on it last year because I was getting my looking for someone to renovate our bus and went to see someone and emailed them and was really keen and they were really keen and then they went away, but they were still posting on social media, but not like, yep, let's lock it, like trying to like lock that sale in or do that. And I'm like, how many times have we, or even foregone like our first customers are probably going to be people we know, or, for the first few years, it's going to be people in our like first degree, second degree, like third degree kind of comes with like that kind of working out who your person is and being really in flow with what you do. And I think we always disregard like the community groups we're part of and the people that are in our current network that are going to buy from us because they already know us. Um,
Yeah.
Rather than like, and we're always like, oh, I need new people, I need new people. And it's like you forget about the people that are like, I literally had a mentor that I like years and years ago I was working with, and I was like, hey, send me details, I want to keep working with you, and like was so caught up in like that they just never got back to me. Didn't sell the thing that they wanted to sell and wanted to do because yes, they were really caught up in the social stuff. And I like that you call that out. And that can be a really hard thing to come to terms with, I think. Like, oh, oh, okay, I am why. Like, and as you say,
Yeah.
why instead of why, like just try and move forward. And I think we're always trying to overanalyze what we do. But yeah, I
Totally.
see that a lot.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I think if I can like give your people one thing to take away from this, like a actionable thing, because like we don't really have the I guess a lot of people are listening rather than looking, so I'm not going to like show a like self-directed neuroplasticity thing, but I think something like a way that we can create the space to change our unconscious mind is by getting curious about what we're doing, right? If we're not self-sabotaging, if every part of us is working towards something like
mm,
better for ourselves, then like curiosity around maybe like why does this feel like this? How can I make this feel a little bit safer? Like what's a different way forward? What am I maybe avoiding here? So like even the fact that like we're introducing this idea that like very frequently marketing gets used as an excuse to like avoid being in touch with people, like to if that is you, if you are feeling called out right now, that like you that's power. That's so much insight that you
mm,
can like use if you're willing to get curious and sit with that discomfort, like you can find exactly what you need in that information. um yeah, yeah,
it's
totally.
powerful. Yeah, and I think a lot of times that seems like overwhelming, but I think it's important, right, to sit with that and just acknowledge it. And I think that's like the first step to kind of moving through it, right? I think um yeah, it's a very powerful thing to leave us with because I think we're often, yeah, trying to, as I said, I do that a lot of the times when I know I can work on something over here. I'm like, oh, I could I know that could get done very quickly. I just do that first. Then, the leads, like the leads tasks that always on my ClickUp that always move to the next day because I was like, oh, I didn't have time.
Yeah.
Oops.
Yeah. Again, noticing that difference between like the feel like and the want to, and be like, all right, let me get curious about why the thing I want to do, I'm not actually doing, is
Mm,
like, and I think the other things that you've named that I like really want to highlight too is like, as like beacons are fun and play and experimenting, right? If you bring curiosity and you're looking for like what feels fun, what feels aligned, and you're willing to use play and like experiment with like, oh man, it feels wild to just like email someone I haven't been in touch with in 6 months and ask them if they want to buy from me again or just reconnect or whatever. But like, well, let's fucking see what happens, you
yeah.
know? Like I think the bolder we are, like the more of a win-win we create for ourselves. Because if we have a bold ask, if we do something bold, then like either like we get kind of like a no, and it's sort of like, yeah, well, that was a giant ask, so I guess that kind of makes sense, or we get a miracle, right?
Yeah, I love that. I love and you know what's the most powerful thing about those things is schedule send. You schedule your email or you schedule your like if it's on Gmail or like Outlook, I always schedule send because then I know I haven't actually done it yet and it gets done without me knowing and then I'm like I feel good.
Oh, well then let me give you one like nervous system regulating thing that can help with these kinds of like
Oh yes, please.
rewiring your brain, is like a full body shake. Just like
Mm,
shaking hard like a wet dog. I'm
yeah,
doing it
I'm
on
gonna do it
camera
now
if you're
too.
listening, and like really like all the way out to like your wrists and your
Oh
legs. And
yeah,
it's a nervous
I like
system
that.
reset that like frees our neural pathways to be open to the idea that yes, this is a safe thing to do.
Oh yeah, like actually having I've been naturally finding myself doing that recently. Like I don't know
We're
why I'm like, oh
programmed to do
okay.
these things.
Shake it out. Yeah, that's interesting because
Yeah,
my part, I'm always like, because I'm most of the time dysregulated after things. So I'm like, okay, shake it out.
it's a really good one.
We could
It's a
do
really good
this.
one.
Yeah.
They're magical. Like it's like
Yeah.
I tell my clients, it's like a magic button, but you have to hit the button. Like you
Mm,
have to remember to actually do the thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. So
Yeah.
I'm really curious at how people can find you, work with you. I mean, you said you're going to shut your socials down. So how can we learn more about what you
So
do?
mysterious. Well, my website, come to my website, artofundiscipline.com. And there you can find out how to get in touch with me. I love meeting new people. I love one-on-one connections. If you are like more of like the slow burn, need to be seduced type, you can also sign up for my emails, which again are like totally bomb. I really love sharing them with people. Yeah, and then from
Amazing.
there too, like it also connects to my art website, so you can see some of like the weird art that I put out into the world at the
Oh,
same
amazing.
time.
I'm gonna stalk that. Your website is very beautiful. So we'll put all the links in the show notes. But thank you so much, Sam. I've loved this chat. You've really got me thinking about all the things that I do. And I'm going to be very curious today and see. And I think that's the thing, right? Like when you are in your work day, like trying to be present, because that's when you actually find you can move through things. Whereas if you're just kind of doing it like da, 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 like you often aren't curious enough to work out like why am I avoiding like what I mean I'm avoiding that aren't I like I'm pushing that down the list so I think that awareness phase is good but you can't do that if you're not present.
Totally, totally. Yeah. Yeah.
Amazing.
And thank you so much for this. This was so much fun. I really enjoyed our conversation. Yeah.
Amazing, thank you so much.
I would love to know, yeah, what's that pattern? What's that thing that keeps you stuck? And yeah, I mean, Sam really got me thinking a lot about these blockers and these mindset shifts. Obviously it is a lot deeper than just posting the content. Like there's always these blockers that are stopping us from marketing and putting ourselves out there. I had a call today with a coach for practitioners, and she was mentioning, yeah, those blockers around selling and promotion, right? And that's what Sam brought up in their conversation about neuroplasticity and unconscious mind. They seem to be the blockers, and there's stuff that we always have to keep working through. So super interesting conversation. I'd love to know sort of what came up for you But yeah, it's a really interesting thing to reflect on. But be a content queen or king, and remember that developing your strategy and story develops your business. Thank you so much for joining me today, and don't forget to share this with all your business and entrepreneurial friends. You can do this by adding it to your Insta stories and tagging me at Content Queen Mariah, or just simply tell them about it. You can in conversation. If you do rate and review, it does help me get amazing guests on like Sam, who shares their amazing knowledge with us and gives their time. So yeah, if you could do that, it would mean the world to me. And yeah, follow me on Instagram, TikTok. Let me know if there's any topics you want me to talk about in the future. And I'll see you next week. Bye.